Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Yashti and I do puzzles. And I totally forgot to tell you last time. This puzzle is Mountain Chalet. Chalet? Anyway, that's the title. And I have obviously finished sorting, and I mean, the previous puzzle I just did was 3,000 pieces, and the one before that was 2,000. So this puzzle only being 1,000 pieces, it feels really small. I know it's not that small, not really, but still, it feels quite small compared to the other two I just did. So I'm gonna do it differently. This is a puzzle I've done, I don't even know how many times before, many. So I want to do it differently because I generally start with the edges. In my previous puzzle, that was very unfortunate actually, because that was a ton of false fits, which was super annoying, obviously, or at least very obvious to me that that was annoying. So, and this puzzle don't really have false fits. It's more like nothing really locks well together because it's old and I've done it so many times. So, you know, there's that. So okay, I should probably tell you this. These are the edges. This is the chalet. And these pieces are all the trees and yeah, all the trees basically. And this is kind of definitely not a full border, but between basically the trees and the mountain, which is here. And this is not this. These are the pieces between basically the skyline between the mountain and the sky, and then you have the grass. So I sorted everything, and I have decided to, as I said, do it differently. So I'm going to start with the trees because there are some very dark areas, and I'm not saying I dislike them, but they are definitely harder. So I figure, hey, why not try something new and start with that instead? I've never done that before, so it'll be interesting. I've obviously had the picture, so I know what that is, and I have done this puzzle many times before, so I guess you could say I have an advantage with that. But at the same time, I've never done it in this way before, so this will be interesting. I probably should have picked, started with one tree. Yep. As usual, this is not a very well thought out plan. It just, what happens, happens. That's usually how my puzzling goes. So yeah, I'm trying to put everything out now so I can see everything. Yet again, is that a good idea? I don't know. We're about to find out. I like trying new things, and you can say I've done this before, so in that sense it's not new, but I'm doing it in a new way. For me, at least. So, yeah. In that sense, it's new. So, yeah. I have a tendency to repeat myself. Ooh, that's a border. An edge. There will be no border crisis with this puzzle. And if you've been watching my older videos or have been watching a while, you know what a border crisis is. That's a mess that takes a long time. so much. And it's also very annoying. But as I said, with this puzzle, no border crisis should be happening. So, thankfully. I was out going for a walk earlier today, And I like that. Like, just basically wandering around outside in nature, fresh air, movement. And I didn't see a lot of people. Sometimes I enjoy that, and other times I do want to see people. So, it's important to have a little bit of variety. And that made me start to wonder, because I know how things are where I live. I don't know how things are, or how people do it in different places, or in other countries, for instance, when they're out walking in the woods. The woods I was walking in is not very far from our house, so it's not like it's in the middle of woods in nowhere, in the middle of nowhere. It's not. But it did make me think, like, how we interact with people around us. Or in this case, when I'm out walking in the woods, how I interact with people that I do come across. And it made me wonder, it's like, well, how do other people do it? How is it done in other countries, basically? And the reason I started thinking about that, or more like wondering about it, because, I watch a lot of YouTube. So I follow a lot of different people on YouTube. And I know how some other people think of some things, but not all things, obviously. But when I go for a walk in the woods, I don't listen to music or anything. I like listening to nature and, all the birds making sounds and singing happily in the trees. Or at least hopefully singing happily in the trees. So that's the thing. But when I walk around outside and then I meet people, I know what I do. I know what I'm used to other people doing where I live. No, that is too warm. I don't know how people do it. How do I put this? In other countries, in other places. I don't know. I'm curious though. So, please let me know down in the comment section what you do where you live, or how people behave, basically. I find that super fascinating. But yeah, when I go for a walk in the woods, if I meet people, if I know them, we stop and talk. If I don't know them, I don't stop and talk. But I always kind of acknowledge their existence, I guess you could say. And like a lot of the times, and I think it's a generational thing too, because I notice a lot of young people don't do it. And when I say that, I feel really old. It's like, oh my God, all these young people. And I'm not that old, but I do come from the countryside, and I wonder, it's like, maybe that is a factor too. And maybe that makes it slightly different than what people that grow up in more like the cities. And when they go to the forest and go for a hike, maybe that plays a part in how they interact with other people. I don't know. I'd be curious to find out that too. But yeah, I'm curious about a lot of things. But did I even? I'm already distracting myself as usual, right? Like, what's it called? On brand? I think so. Yeah, I'm really good at that. Wow. Focus. when I go for a walk and if I meet people, as I said, if I know them, I always obviously talk to them. If I don't know them, however, there are 3 ways I interact with them, even if I don't know them. I either just smile, or like kind of like the basic, like the thing you at least do is you nod. As in, and the nod is basically a way of saying, I have seen you, I'm aware you're there. Basically, just like a nod. You can also add a smile. I like to do that because, well, generally if you smile, people have a tendency to smile back. And I like it when people smile. It makes them seem nicer. And since I don't know them, I would like them to at least seem nice. Because, well, in my opinion, that is nice. And come, what can I say? The older generation, and I seem to belong to that, at least in some cases. I mean, you do the nod, and then you smile, and then you say hi. You don't stop and talk to strangers. I mean, hello, I'm Norwegian. We generally don't talk to strangers. It's the thing. That I think is more like a cultural thing. But yeah, we smile and nod, so to acknowledge the other person, and then we pass each other and keep going. But you always at least nod, and usually always also smile and say hello. Not like hello, I intend to start a conversation, just like hello in passing, because you're that close to each other, basically. For me, that is a normal thing. But I've come to realize, as I said, that it might be a slight generational thing, because if I meet young people, they don't always smile and say hello. They don't even always nod. They just pass you. And I can't help but think, oh my god, that is so rude. It's like, hello, have some decency. Like, you acknowledge that there are people around you. Come on. So, yeah. I don't know how other people... And I mean, this is not a lot of false fit in this puzzle. It's just, it's been used so many times that everything fits a lot of places. But yeah, then when I go out and go for a walk, the like, yeah, the nod, the saying hello, the smiling, and apparently not everyone does that anymore. And I can't help, as I said, but to think that they're really rude for not doing it. And then I realized that, hey, I'm from the countryside. Sometimes it might just be a difference between countryside and the city. And it might also be something along the lines of, you know, I've turned 40, I'm 40 years old, so I can actually say like I'm middle generation or something. There's basically a younger generation than me that also go out for a lot of walks. But we behave differently when we meet each other out on those walks, and I find that really fascinating. And as I said, sometimes I just can't help it. I find some of them to be really rude for not saying hello. And I'm not saying that you have to say hello to everyone. Like if you're one person, that means one person. You nod, smile, and say hello. If you're one person meeting 2 people and they go very close together, the nod, smile, and hello goes for the both of them. If you meet 2 people that are obviously together, but they're spaced several meters apart, you nod, smile, and say hello to the both of them. I mean, I find just that to be common courtesy. But as I said, I seem to be a little old-fashioned when it comes to those things. It's just, I find it weird. It's like, I didn't think I was that old-fashioned, and I'm starting to realize, I think I am that old-fashioned. Like, for real. I don't know how to feel about that. I really don't. But yeah. And just, yeah. But but as I said, also, I'm from the countryside. That's kind of part of what we do there. I'm not saying that we know everyone. We sure don't. But it's just, that's just the dynamic. I don't know, it's just, is that weird? What do people in other countries do? Because I mean, a YouTuber that I occasionally watch, she made a video about like taking a hike in the forest, and she had a dog, which is cool, but she was like, oh, you have to be able to protect yourself, and she had like pepper spray with her, and I was like, what the heck? You're going for a walk, girl. What do you need pepper spray for? And I understand that other countries, I mean, I'm from Norway. I've lived in Norway my whole life. I'm used to this country. And I understand that other countries might be different, but like, she seemed very worried about these things. Like, getting attacked when you go out for a walk? What the heck? I mean, generally, when I go out for a walk, I prefer to, you know, I lock my door at my house before I leave, so I always bring my keys with me. Because, you know, I do prefer to lock my front door, but I don't necessarily bring a lot of other things with me. What do I need that for? I'm going for a hike in the woods. What I need all the other stuff for? And the thing is, I don't feel like I need that. But that might just be a me thing. I grew up on the countryside. In the countryside, I'm used to things not being dangerous. That has been proven to me several times. And sometimes people think, I don't know, maybe they think I'm a little crazy or something. I'd be okay with that. I don't really care. But I realize that not everything is the same for everyone. I get that. But sometimes those differences just, I mean, I understand that some places are definitely more dangerous than where I live. I get it. But, I mean, yeah, maybe I don't get it. Maybe I don't get it because I've never, like, had an issue with anything even remotely like that. And I mean, I don't know. It got me thinking when I was out in the woods walking, all alone, you know, by myself, with, I guess in a way you can say, with no way to protect myself. It's like, well, I live in Norway. I'm walking in the woods. What the hell would I need to protect myself from? It's just, yeah. I guess, I mean, things are different in different parts of different countries, obviously. Nothing is fully the same everywhere. But it just, I guess you could say it just sometimes I sometimes get it, and other times I'm just like, what? Why are people so worried all the time? I don't get it. And I truly don't get it. I don't know what that says about me, but you know, I just never really had to think about it because I grew up in such a safe environment. So I would say I'm very, very lucky in that regard But it also makes me very confused when people are worried about stuff like that. Because I do come from such a safe place. So the people not coming from such safe places confuse me. Maybe it's just, yeah, as I said, maybe it's just me. I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, I do find it fascinating that people can have such different perceptions. But at the same time, I mean, it's not like I'm in those places. So, you know, as I said, I live where I live. It's a safe place. And that's what I'm used to. So, yeah. Safety like that is not something I've never ever had to think about, I guess you could say. So I don't worry about it because I've never had to. It's never really been a point for me to need to worry about that because there wasn't anything to worry about. So yeah, I am super lucky when it comes to that. I'm aware that I'm really lucky, but also I don't think, I mean, I guess you could say the intelligent part of me realized that I don't think I fully understand how lucky I really am. Does that make sense? I don't know. It made sense to me, so I'm gonna count that it made sense. This is a very fascinating way to do a puzzle. Like, have no boundaries. It's fascinating and slightly frustrating. But I think I like it. I think I like doing the puzzle this way. So maybe this will be my new way of doing puzzles. I don't know. Some of them maybe? Maybe. Time will tell. And also different puzzles will tell, because what is simple and easy with one puzzle might not be the same for the next one, because the puzzles are different. So yeah, I'm curious to how, like, basically how, like, taking a walk in different countries, how that is. Like, do you have to think about protection all the time? And have you cut me off? Hold on. You hadn't cut me off. So that was a relief. But yeah, how is it in other countries? Do you have to, can you just do what I do and just put on your clothes and your shoes and go out for a walk and not have to worry? Or do you have to be like, oh, that sounds bad. Do you have to be scared? Oh God, I really hope so. But I'm sure in some parts of the world, you kind of have to be, which is sad. I mean, that's not a good way to have it. So if that is how it is, someone ought to do something to make it better. Just saying. Just saying. But yeah, I'm curious. How is it in other spaces? Ooh. I'm really curious now that I started thinking about it. It's like, wonder how that is. And you now know that's fairly safe here. At least I feel like it's really safe where I live. Though other people might have a different perception of it. I'm not saying I'm ignorant, but I don't think I'm always as aware, possibly, maybe, I don't know, as other people. As I said, I don't know. I lived in Oslo, our capital, the capital of Norway, for a few years when I studied, and that was also one of those instances where I realized that my perception might not align with other people's perception at all times. Because one of the people that I knew there, she was like, and sure, she lived in slightly shadier part of the city than I did, I will admit. But still, I mean, she had her phone out when she was walking home in the evening or afternoon or at night or whatever. She had her phone out, and this was before smartphones. So she had, like, you know, the older phones with the buttons on. She had her phone out, and she had always, like, when she was walking home alone, she had pushed in the number for the police, and she was walking home holding her thumb over the call button in case something were to happen. She was like terrified of walking home alone. And yes, she lived in a slightly shadier part of the city than I did. But I was like, what's the problem? Sure, it's shady, but you ignore the people. You just go where you're supposed to go. And, you know, fingers crossed that nothing bad happens. And that was my way of dealing with that. So I was like, yeah, no need to worry. You go home. That's what you're doing. You're going home. No need to worry. I don't know how she really felt about me saying that. She might have thought I was slightly crazy, and, you know, she may or may not have been correct in those instances. But she was so worried, and I was rather flippant about it and saying, it's like, yeah, whatever, it'll be fine. Because I don't think I had, I don't know, the mental bandwidth to realize, hey, this might actually not be always good. I just, no, it'll be fine. No worries. So that's how I dealt with it. By basically ignoring most of it and thinking, yeah, it'll be fine. But she was so worried. So there were instances where I walked her home because she was worried, and, you know, I felt a little bad that she was so worried all the time. I was thinking to myself, that's no way to live. That must be exhausting. So I walked her home, and then she was grateful for that, and then she got worried because then I had to walk home alone. And I was like, no need to worry, it'll be fine. And I mean, nothing ever happened, so it was fine. Would I have done it today? Well, the world has changed because I lived there, gosh, when was that? About 15 years ago, and a lot has changed in the last 15 years. So now, I probably would have dealt with it a little differently than what I used to. Because as I said, the world have changed. And I have to say, the world has not changed for the better. That's just, unfortunately, that's how it is. That part of the world has not changed for the better, which is sad. But also, that's what it is. I can't do anything about that. I can be annoyed, but that's not going to help. It's not going to do anything. But I probably wouldn't have been as much of like, yeah, whatever, it'll be fine type of person today as I was back then. I will admit. But yeah, the world have changed. The world have changed in so many different ways. So yeah. But still, I mean, I still remember her being so scared. And me being so like, yeah, whatever, it'll be fine. It's kind of, kind of fascinating, really, how different we viewed it. How different we viewed the world. Because it was different. The world was different. We were different. We were definitely different people, me and her. But yeah, it's fascinating, like, how different sometimes people really are. So yeah, if you were wondering about that, now you know. I tended to be very flippant about it and saying, it'll be fine. And I had other people in my life that were slightly more worried. I think that's a good way to put it. They were definitely slightly more worried than me being like, yeah, whatever. So yeah, that was, yeah. So how is it in other places, other countries? Oh, this is upside down. Huh. Hold on. Ooh, gosh. Ooh. Okay. There we are. Don't really help much, but anyway. Now it's in the correct way. Yeah. Yeah. I guess you could say I'm just really, really curious about how other people, or how it is other places with those things. And these, yes, it's a Ravensburger puzzle, but the pieces do not stick together at all. But I do believe that may have something to do with the fact of how old it is. I mean, this is not a new puzzle. But I've been talking a bit now, and I am trying this new thing, and I'm noticing I'm kind of already failing. But I was gonna try this new thing where not have like super long videos, because they're kind of annoying to edit when they're super long. So I'm gonna do what I always do, say I'm gonna end the video and then keep going for a bit. Kidding, I'm not gonna do that. Maybe, at least not too much. Man, I need to learn to do that. So yeah, that was something I started to really wonder about when I was out for a walk today. I feel like I both did a lot, but also not at the same time here. I didn't flip all the pieces. Okay. So yeah, I'm curious, how is it like in your country or wherever you live? Do you have to worry when you go out for a walk? Do you feel safe? Do you have to take precautions? Do you like taking a walk in the woods? Or is the woods too far away? I mean, I can just put my shoes on and basically walk for a couple of minutes and then I'm in the woods. Not a big wood, but a little wood. So yeah, I have very easy access. Not everyone does. I understand that, especially if you're living in the middle of a big city. That would not work for me, but it does work for some people. Not for me. I need nature. But I'm curious, how is it in your country when you go out for a walk in the woods? If you have any woods nearby. Okay, that was my question. This is where I'm gonna end the video. I hope you have a nice day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!